Switchvox offers a variety of connectivity options when it comes to softphone, including desktop and mobile applications for both Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android, giving users the ability to work from anywhere on practically any device. Let's start off by taking a look at the desktop softphone. There are a few requirements on the network side of the Switchvox to enable softphone usage. As you may recall from the networking security video in this series, remote users have to be authenticated through the Switchvox. In order to do that, we can head over to the access control rules. Within these rules here, the remote user's IP address and net mask will have to be allowed through the user portal. Taking an example from external communications here, this would be my remote user IP address, or in the instance of a VPN, the VPN IP address, whether that's local or remote, and enable the web user portal toggle. Now, it is possible in the scenario where you've got multiple remote users to go ahead and allow that on the all networks rule, but that should be used with extreme caution. Next up, we'll want to allow NAT port forwarding in server networking IP configuration. Enable the allow NAT port forwarding toggle to yes. In addition, on any external firewall, you'll have to forward port 443 back to your PBX for this secure web login. And audio ports, per the usual, run on ports 10,000 to 20,000 UDP. Now, with the networking out of the way, let's set up an extension for the desktop softphone. Under the user extension, I'm going to head over to Manage Phones. Now, I've already got my phone set up here, denoting desktop and mobile, which we'll cover next. If we do not have the desktop softphone already provisioned, we can click Create Phone. And the option to create and assign that would be here. You'll see here in an example, when I create the extension 233, if I head over to devices, they've actually already been provisioned. Okay, what about obtaining the softphone? If we go back to the homepage, we'll see at the bottom the applications link. We can click on this to get to the downloads page, or we can also see an overview of the features of the softphone and what we need to download. In the case of desktops, there's only one installer for both Windows and Mac, whereas the mobile have multiple at the time of this recording for the different features. We'll get into that next. So once the softphone is downloaded and installed, there are a couple of options. If you've gone through this route where it's a manual download and you've opened the softphone, you will see this login screen asking for the host, username, and password. Users would then need to key these details in themselves. An easier method, if possible, would be for the user to log into their web interface. I'll simulate that here. And at the top, we have desktop softphone. Clicking this will open a DSS link, which will automatically provision the softphone once it's installed on their desktop. I've now got a prompt to launch the softphone, and that's automatically logging me in. The softphone usage itself is pretty straightforward with our main feature tabs on the left side. Right now I have talk and chat. However, this particular user is part of a queue. In order for that to appear, we'll have to go over to the queue and modify it, and then head over to the permissions tab. Here we've got some visibility options like allow my status, allow overview, and allow detailed view, as well as allow call control. I'm going to give them the full call control and save. Now when I open the softphone, I've added the queues tab here. Let's start with the queues tab since we're already here. I'm going to initiate a call. See here that the call in the queue and the wait time, as well as average wait, so you can see that detailed information here. Okay, in addition to that, we've got the chat tab. We can either directly message one of our contacts, or we can create a room. And I've sent that to the same extension that called in on the queue. Also, you've got some chat features here as you would expect. In addition, you've got the regular calling application. We've got the dial pad, either using your number pad or the dial pad here to make a call. So in addition, we can park and record. Let's go ahead and park the call. And we'll take a slot from the slots I've already got set up. I can head over to the parking tab. I can see that call here is parked in the lot 701. Anyone can now dial 701 from a handset, soft phone, etc. Or I can just click here in the soft phone. Here's some additional details: waiting, parked by information. So I can click that to retrieve. And it is back. So in addition, if you have monitoring access to users and queues, well, on a phone call, you would be able to have some additional options here. We've also got the history menu here. We've got quick dialing of 200 for the extension and for the voicemail when it's a local extension. You can just click to dial again. Missed calls are here. And then any voicemails that are left, we have the option to retrieve them by playing them directly and who it's from, the envelope. Let's get one of those to show. And there we go. Through the magic of editing, we have a voicemail from Mr. Watson. We can give him a call back with the click to dial. We can dial the voicemail system as well. Just have to click on the voicemail here and it came up with the transcript. And mark as unread or delete. So any contacts I've added can be done so through here. Otherwise, I can head over to my lists over here on view, and I've got test RDL or rapid dial list, which has 3 contacts, 1 in the new list. I was able to create these rapid dial lists in tools rapid dial list. Here's the new list with 1 contact, test RDL with my 3 contacts. And that's how those are accessible. Conference activity and my queue status. I'm logged in. I can hover over and I can put a pause reason and log out if I have the option to do so. In this particular setup, I have the user always logged in, how many calls taken and missed. In addition, here are my statuses that I can set. Those are important to make sure I'm not disturbed or getting queue calls, even in the event that I do not want to take any calls, etc. Other users on the system can see my status as well. In the user preferences or settings, we can choose what the extension is that we want to make calls out with click to call, similar to what we saw in the user switchboard video. If I do a click to call, I can have desktop or mobile soft phones, in addition to the main extension, which may or may not be a desk phone. My emergency location can be saved. This was set up by my admin in the extension details at the time that the extension was created. Registering the telcolon protocol handler means that any link I click on in my browser, emails, etc. will be linked to make a call through the soft phone or whatever device is prioritized. I can add additional location info for the 911 if it's not set by admin already. For example, I could say 3rd floor, I could say basement, and so on. Enabling blind transfer, audio settings, ringer customization, and some chat settings. Also have my idle, status, and call pop settings. I can have a specific call pop URL when calls come in, ringing or answered. I can send a variable to a specially crafted URL, pull up a CRM page for a customer or some internal system. Queue threshold alerts. This next integration, Sangoma Meet, for the conferencing application, allows a user to transfer a call to a video call in the Meet application once they're on an audio call. Once the feature is enabled, they'll see the option to transfer the call to the Meet application from the call's action menu and password information. Well, that about does it for the Sangoma desktop phone. Switchvox mobile users have a suite of applications which they can use to communicate internally and externally. Going back to the download matrix here on the help page, again, I get to that from going to the Switchvox homepage. For a quick reference and clicking on the applications bar, you can see for both Android and iOS, for the PBX features, we have the chat application here, which is Sangoma Chat. Audio calls and conferencing, essentially the main soft phone is Sangoma Talk. And for video conferencing and screen share, we will go to Sangoma Meet. Now, this is the current playbook at the time of this recording, but this could change in the sense where it's consolidated into less apps or even a single app. Now, let's take a look at the preliminary setup and requirements for a Sangoma mobile experience. Heading back to Setup Manage, ensure that the user has a soft phone for mobile under their devices, which is created at the time that the extension is created. See here, the mobile soft phone is in fact ready to go. If not, you can click Create Phone and create that. Now, it's important that a valid email is attached to the user's extension because they will need this email address in order to authenticate. That email address combined with their web portal password is what they're going to need to log in. In the case of the mobile application, the Sangoma Cloud service will do the provisioning, so the Switchvox IP address or hostname itself does not need to be provided when the user is logging in. Now, if you are behind an SBC or a proxy, you would head over to Setup and then Settings. You're going to see here the Sangoma Talk mobile settings. You can change the host name and proxy information here, as well as transport and the ICE for NAT traversal. Now, you notice here that you can communicate over TLS or secure encrypted calling over VoIP. Bear in mind that you're going to need to have a valid SSL certificate to enable the TLS or encrypted calling under networking, HTTPS, and proxy in order to even have that TLS option available to select from. So from a networking perspective, we're going to need a couple other things checked off. Under server networking IP configuration, NAT port forwarding is going to need to be enabled. A valid host name is also going to have to be set under the advanced options here. If all your soft phone users will be connecting locally, this can resolve to the local Switchvox IP. If they're connecting remotely, you'll want this, of course, pointing to your external IP. You also want ICE support on, of course, unless you are behind a Sangoma SBC. Next, we'll want to go back up to server networking and access control. You'll want to make sure that on the network where the mobile apps are connecting, you have SIP set to on. For users that utilize a VPN, it is possible. Just ensure that you always use a valid host name under the phone networks, all networks, or at least the network that you're using for communication. Don't use the IP address. Under server IP config, additional local networks include the CIDR block for the VPN. Additional modifications to access control rules may apply, but generally only with the desktop softphone. For further information on the Sangoma mobile application suite, including features, troubleshooting, and firewall rules, you can head to the Sangoma knowledge base. An easy way to find the soft phone specific help is going to the Switchvox home, clicking on the banner. And down here, I found the mobile soft phone app information. So I can go through a little bit more in detail, all of the requirements, recommendations, and the firewall checklist, which explains ports and protocols. Here is the Connect Talk Mobile technical information, including IPs to whitelist on your external firewall. For anyone interested, I'll leave you with this network diagram for the Talk Mobile topology. Now we can take a look at using the actual mobile applications. So join me in the mobile environment. To simplify the features and functionality of the applications, you can think of the chat application as the launchpad for the other applications. The chat application contains your contact list, for example, which when a contact is pulled up, you can click the contact that you wish to call. This will automatically bring up the Sangoma Talk application and place that call via the Sangoma Talk softphone. If you click on Sangoma Meet, it will automatically bring up the Meet app and start the conference. The chat app not only allows you to communicate internally with teammates, but it also allows you to do SMS with the outside world. Now, if you're not using SMS messaging or Sangoma Meet on the Switchvox, you can simply use the Sangoma Talk application as your mobile softphone. Bear in mind that you need to have a valid SSL certificate assigned to Switchvox in order to use the chat application. If you'd like more information on how to set up SSL certificates on Switchvox, please visit the networking and security video in this series. Once installed, there are two ways to authenticate to the Sangoma Talk mobile application. The easiest method is to request the login link by entering in the user's email address. The advanced login link at the bottom allows you to log in with your username and your password instead. Those would be your web interface details for Switchvox. I'll demonstrate the email login. Now I can go to my email for the link. And here is that email, so I can either download the application if I haven't, obviously in this case I have, and click the login now link, which is valid for 24 hours. After that, you'll have to request a new link. Okay, so right away I'm presented with the dial pad. I've also got quick access to voicemail here. And I've got my keypad option. I can also hold, record call, transfer the call, and I can add or do a three-way call with add call, and then the attended transfer. Okay, I've also got the standard mute. I've got video as well, if it's supported, and I've got some call statistics here as well. Okay, aside from that, I've got my registration status up in the corner. With DND, I've got my favorites list. And I can take a picture of the contact card, I can add manually, and so on. History, with the option to add the contact. I've got my contacts list with the contacts on my mobile phone. And an option to launch additional apps. Okay, I can also head into settings. Got my account set up here. Here I can get into proxy, NAT traversal, different codecs. I can also change my transport to TLS, etc. And a few other options. Okay, moving on, I have preferences, including things like call recording, network parameters, logging, and a few other network related settings. Also got my usage report here. And if I want to log out or actually reset the application, I can simply choose the reset application link right here, and that'll clear all data and force me to log in again. One important thing to note is that if a user does not log in for 7 days, that their token will expire. There'll be a push notification to re-log in to re-authenticate. If not, you will have to use the email login method once more, basically sign in again. Okay, for other applications such as Sangoma Meet or the chat application, logging in is similar by using credentials for the web portal. In the case of Meet here, I'll use that one as an example, clicking login. And when SSO is offered as the login method, we're going to click on Switchvox. Similar to before, I'm going to put in my email, and I'll be asked for my password, and that'll log me into the application. So that should give you a good grasp of using the Sangoma and Switchvox mobile applications. Again, you can refer to the help documentation to help you with setup and troubleshooting, as well as features.